Ferrari confirms change of plan with SF25 upgrade delayed. Big changes are coming to the 2026 regulations, and Red Bull gets blasted for being two-faced. Do consider subbing. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Ferrari's recent performance has left fans and teams alike in shock, especially concerning their plans for the SF25 upgrade. Following a challenging weekend for Lewis Hamilton at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Ferrari team principal Fred Vasseur announced that they will not be continuing their upgrade program at the upcoming Miami Grand Prix. Instead, they will likely hold off until Imola to make the necessary improvements. This news is particularly disappointing for Hamilton, who found himself finishing in a distant 7th place. It's clear that he is struggling to find his footing this season. Hamilton hasn't managed to reach the podium since joining Ferrari, with his best finishes hovering around the 5th position. In the face of these setbacks, he shared his frustrations with the media, expressing his inability to pinpoint the specific issues causing his struggles. "I don't have an answer for you," he stated. The lack of clarity on his situation is obviously weighing on him, as he admitted there's currently no fix in sight, indicating this year may continue to feel like a painful struggle. As the narrative unfolds, it's essential to analyze the underlying reasons behind Hamilton's challenges with the Ferrari team. Despite preseason optimism suggesting Ferrari had improved with their SF25, they have predominantly found themselves battling for position behind McLaren, Mercedes, and Red Bull. Charles Leclerc managed to break the team's podium streak at the Jeddah circuit, racing from 4th to 3rd, contrasting sharply with Hamilton's inability to move beyond his initial grid position. Hamilton's performance continues to raise questions as he revealed his discontent, noting that there's nothing in particular he can target for improvement. His statement that "there's nothing to say, hey, this is the issue," reflects the broader uncertainty enveloping the Scuderia this season. Furthermore, the delay in the SF25 upgrade puts even more pressure on Hamilton's shoulders. Vasseur explained that the anticipated updates will not be ready in time for Miami, where a sprint race complicates their testing opportunities. "When you understand where the problems are, you can work to solve them," he remarked. Ferrari's approach moving forward seems to echo their strategies from last year, focusing on gradual improvements race by race. However, it appears they're facing significant challenges, especially since they've already introduced a key upgrade in Bahrain aimed at enhancing performance. This yet again raises concerns over their capacity to compete effectively throughout the remaining races of the season. With all these hurdles ahead, fans will be eagerly watching how Hamilton navigates this complex dynamic and whether Ferrari can regain their competitive edge. The outlook remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the road ahead is going to be tough for both Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari as they strive to reclaim their former glory on the racetrack. As we dive into the latest developments in Formula One, Vasseur's cautious approach for the sprint weekend isn't surprising. Reports indicate that Ferrari was divided regarding the introduction of a new floor in Bahrain. Vasseur and technical director Loic Serra believed it might be wiser to fine-tune the car's dynamic balance first, rather than risk complicating the aerodynamics without thorough understanding. Leclerc, however, has been more optimistic. After securing his first podium this season in Saudi Arabia, he acknowledged the progress the new floor signifies. Yet, he emphasized that more improvements are crucial for their competitiveness. "We need to keep pushing the maximum, and hopefully upgrades are coming soon," he stated, highlighting the urgency of their situation. Difficulty is on the horizon for Leclerc as he currently sits 5th in the Drivers' Championship, trailing by 52 points behind chief rival Oscar Piastri. With such a significant gap, he understands that the team must address their issues swiftly or face the consequences of a negative point tally. Meanwhile, Hamilton is feeling the pressure too. Following a disappointing performance in Saudi Arabia, Hamilton canceled his planned downtime to head to Maranello, seeking to unearth solutions for the lack of pace he experienced. "I had no pace at all," he admitted, showcasing his determination to resolve the issues ahead of future races. Amidst the challenges and the constant drive for improvement, both Leclerc and Hamilton are aware that the clock is ticking and their respective teams need to step up their game to catch up in the championship race. Max Verstappen recently faced criticism for his behavior on the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix podium. According to former F1 driver Johnny Herbert, Verstappen's actions were deemed unprofessional and disrespectful. Following a gripping race where Oscar Piastri emerged victorious, Verstappen made little effort to celebrate with either the winner or Charles Leclerc, who finished in third place. Herbert slammed Verstappen's demeanor during the podium ceremony, arguing that it showcased a lack of class from someone of Verstappen's stature. During the race, Verstappen received a 5-second time penalty for gaining an advantage after leaving the track during a fierce battle for the lead with Piastri. Despite serving the penalty during his pit stop, he finished just 2.8 seconds behind Piastri, but remained tight-lipped about his feelings toward the FIA's verdict. Verstappen insinuated that people can't handle the full truth, revealing his discontent with the decision. However, it was the podium celebration, or lack thereof, that drew the most ire from Herbert. While the other drivers engaged in the traditional celebratory antics, Verstappen seemed disengaged. He opted to drink rosewater and did not partake in the customary champagne spraying, which Herbert interpreted as a lack of respect towards his fellow competitors. His behavior, especially from a 4-time world champion, was perceived as inappropriate. Herbert specifically noted, "I saw Max Verstappen drink the champagne without celebrating Oscar or Charles. It comes across as unprofessional and disrespectful." The sentiment was clear. Victory and defeat should come with respect and recognition of fellow drivers' achievements. As a champion, being gracious in both situations is essential. In the broader context of Verstappen's season, opinions about his conduct vary. While Red Bull's principal Christian Horner condemned the penalty as very harsh, emphasizing that Verstappen had marginally crossed the line during the pivotal race moment, the focus now shifts to how Verstappen represents himself on and off the track. As fans and analysts keep a close watch on his future conduct, the expectations for sportsmanship remain high. Verstappen's actions speak volumes, and they remind us that even the highest achievers in sports must uphold certain standards of respect and graciousness. In a recent discussion, Johnny Herbert pointed out a calculated gamble by Red Bull during the Verstappen and Piastri incident. He criticized Red Bull CEO Christian Horner's defense, claiming the scenario was more about shifting responsibility to the stewards rather than owning up to the situation. Herbert firmly believes that Red Bull had an opportunity to rectify their mistake by returning the position to Piastri, highlighting a similar incident involving Kimi Antonelli and Charles Leclerc, where Antonelli did the honorable thing by relinquishing his position. He argued that had Verstappen given the place back, he would have likely secured victory. Instead, Red Bull opted for a high-risk strategy, hoping for a 5-second penalty benefit while leading on clear track, but this strategy didn't pan out given the pace of McLaren and Piastri. The rules can be challenging, particularly since the stewards have more leniency on first-lap penalties, but Herbert argues for standardized penalties, believing ambiguity opens doors to further complications. Advocating for consistency, he noted that as elite drivers, they should be held accountable for any advantage gained during the race. While some fans called for stewards to intervene and instruct Red Bull to concede the position, Herbert warned against this, expressing concerns over the race director's influence and how it reflects on the FIA. In current standings, Verstappen sits third in the Drivers' Championship, trailing behind Piastri, who impressively leads following his recent victory in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Stay tuned for more updates as the F1 season progresses. As we gear up for the F1 2025 season, all eyes are already on the changes coming in 2026. The F1 Commission recently convened for the second time this season, with a particular focus on the power unit energy deployment for the new regulations. An intriguing development has emerged: a possible departure from the initially proposed 1.6-liter hybrid engines to a return of the roaring naturally aspirated V10s. This shift, however, isn't without its challenges, as there's been chatter about tweaking the power output ratios. Currently, the plan for 2026 involves evolving the 1.6-liter V6 hybrid engines, maintaining a 50-50 balance between electrical deployment and internal combustion. With the electrical deployment set to peak at 350 kilowatts, concerns have arisen regarding battery depletion. This could particularly impact teams at circuits where energy regeneration opportunities are minimal, such as Monza or the narrow, winding streets of Jeddah. Here, we might witness cars struggling to maintain power down long straights, leading to a dramatic end to races. Interestingly, FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem floated the idea of a swift transition to naturally aspirated V10 engines using sustainable fuel, but this proposal faced immediate pushback. Conversations between the power unit manufacturers, the FIA, and FOM ahead of the Bahrain Grand Prix made it clear that this direction wouldn't be pursued at this time. However, during the Geneva meeting of the F1 Commission, an alternative was proposed, reducing the electrical output to 200 kilowatts, while simultaneously introducing a push-to-pass feature that could unleash the full 350 kilowatts in crucial moments. This suggestion, while innovative, sparked a heated debate among the industry's major players. Chaired by FIA's single-seater director, Nicolas Tombazis, along with F1's president and CEO, Stefano Domenicali, the Commission engaged in discussions about energy management proposals. Still, because changes to the power unit regulations are governed by the Power Unit Manufacturers Governance Agreement, they couldn't move forward with a vote on the proposal. It's essential to note that key players like Mercedes, Honda, and Audi are firmly against reducing the energy deployment from 350 kilowatts to 200 kilowatts. This potential change could diminish the significance of the energy recovery system as a performance differentiator, which may have far-reaching implications for competition on the track. Following previous discussions in Bahrain, the momentum for transitioning to V10 engines has also stalled, as those same manufacturers have reiterated their opposition, with Ferrari and Red Bull's RBPT not outright rejecting the idea of a shift. It highlights the complexities and the differing interests within F1's landscape. As we look ahead to the next seasons, it's clear that the discussions on power units will be pivotal in shaping the future of Formula One racing. Stay tuned as we continue to follow these developments closely and keep you updated on what's next in the world of F1. As discussions continue, the Power Unit Advisory Committee is preparing to tackle some pressing matters affecting manufacturers. Key topics include the potential tweaks to energy deployment and exploring new strategies to support those struggling with competitiveness or reliability issues. These changes reflect a significant step toward improving the overall performance of the teams. In tandem, the 2025 sporting regulations are moving forward with updates that have received preliminary agreement. These updates will soon be presented to the World Motorsport Council for ratification. Among the noteworthy amendments is the introduction of a mandatory two-stop strategy during the Monaco Grand Prix, ensuring even more excitement during this prestigious event. Moreover, new rules are being implemented surrounding heat management for drivers, particularly regarding the use of cooling vests. These changes aim to enhance safety and performance during races, especially in hot conditions. While addressing these regulations, officials are also putting efforts into investigating recent incidents, such as grass fires at the Japanese Grand Prix. Alternative skid materials and resurfacing treatments are being considered to prevent future occurrences, showcasing F1's commitment to safety and innovation on the tracks. As we shift our focus back to team dynamics, a crucial vote is on the horizon following the resignation of FIA Deputy President Robert Reid. The recent nomination of his successor could mark a pivotal moment for the FIA, as leadership directly influences strategy and governance in motorsport. Max Verstappen is in the spotlight after receiving a penalty during the Jeddah race, claiming that people can't handle the truth. This incident serves as a reminder that drivers must remain vigilant on the track to avoid fines, particularly in a competitive season like 2025. With Carlos Sainz recently having his penalty rescinded, the ongoing narrative of penalties and fair play will continue to shape the outcomes of races this season. As we keep an eye on these developments, the excitement of Formula One continues to build. Recently, Horner pointed to his team's outdated wind tunnel as a major stumbling block in their recent performance. But not everyone is convinced that this is the real issue at hand. Karun Chandhok, an ex-F1 racer and current Sky F1 pundit, has raised eyebrows, labeling Horner's claims as mere PR spin and deflection. According to Chandhok, he discussed this with Red Bull's sister team, VCarb, who also uses that same wind tunnel. Their response? They seemingly dismissed any notion that it could be the source of Red Bull's struggles. As we step back to assess Red Bull's recent season, the narrative shifts. Their dominance has waned, particularly as they grappled with the transition to the RB20 and now the RB21, which still has some key balance issues. To date, they're sitting with just one victory in the F1 2025 season. This decline has raised a few eyebrows, especially considering how formidable Red Bull has been in recent seasons. Horner emphasizes that the limitations of the wind tunnel have significantly impacted their performance. He admitted that the team is in the process of transitioning to a new wind tunnel, and the current facility may not be adequately replicating what they're experiencing out on the track. He stated that a disconnect exists between data gathered from their tools and what is observed during races. He expressed confidence that they understand the problems, but implementing effective solutions is the challenge. For instance, he pointed out the need to enhance the car's grip and handling as it enters corners, a critical aspect for leading driver Max Verstappen to maintain speed and confidence. Interestingly, he highlighted that the challenges they face are particularly pronounced at the tail end of current regulations, where gains have become marginal. At the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, Horner reiterated his concerns about the outdated wind tunnel, calling it a relic of the Cold War. He underscored that these limitations are why the team has invested in a new tunnel, which is currently under construction. With every tiny fraction of performance in these tightly regulated environments being crucial, he made it clear that current tools might not yield the precise data they need. While he admitted that the state of their wind tunnel doesn't help, Horner remains optimistic. With a talented team of engineers and aerodynamicists at their disposal, he believes they'll find a way to overcome these hurdles. As we reflect on F1 2025's current landscape, fans are left wondering not just who will emerge as the season's victor, but how teams like Red Bull will adapt and evolve amidst these challenges. So, what do you think? Is Horner's wind tunnel theory a valid concern, or just a convenient scapegoat for deeper issues within the team? And who do you think will take home the driver's title this year? Share your thoughts in the comments below. As the 2025 Formula One season unfolds, Red Bull's position is increasingly scrutinized. With VCarb, Red Bull's second team, performing well, questions arise about team dynamics. Christian Horner, Red Bull's boss, insists that their wind tunnel is part of the problem, but what does that mean for their performance? Horner was challenged on whether VCarb has faced similar correlation issues, to which he responded, "Well, I think they have, because they're not on pole position, are they?" However, former F1 driver Chandhok disagrees, stating he spoke with VCarb personnel who assert they're experiencing no correlation issues between their wind tunnel and track performance. Chandhok, during an appearance on Sky F1's The F1 Show podcast, commented on Horner's claims, calling them PR spin. He adds that Red Bull's challenges don't seem to extend to VCarb's operations, suggesting it's more of a Red Bull racing-specific issue. Their current standing in the Constructors' Championship holds them at P3, trailing leaders Mclaren by 99 points. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen finds himself in a competitive P3 in the Drivers' Championship, 12 points behind the leader, Oscar Piastri. This turmoil adds fuel to the fire surrounding Verstappen's future with Red Bull, and fans are left questioning the dynamics within the team. With names like George Russell also being floated in discussions of potential seat swaps, it's clear that this season is packed with intrigue and unexpected twists. What do you think lies ahead for Red Bull and its drivers? Will they rally together, or are deeper issues too entrenched to overcome? Share your thoughts in the comments below.